Like I say, I'm a TI, and um, as a target individual, I know that I'm a test subject. I'm a target individual who's a test subject in the program where they're utilizing some of this most sophisticated technology and implement this onto test subjects to see how they can cognitively and other ways disturb them, destroy them. We're just guinea pigs. The cognitive manipulations are very pedophilia centric. It's truly like you feel like you're in a cognitive warfare where they're altering your mind, right? They alter your mind and make you experience nastiness 24/7. I've made thousands of videos at this point. At over 1,200 videos of the same things, showing a pattern of what they've been doing to me, non-stop. And when they manipulate your brain in this fashion, then you have this like I said, it's cognitive warfare. So to enforce this manipulation, they have to go ahead with acting accordingly. And for example, like I say, I was at work, and this is happening. This is so often. It's just like nothing new. It sounds like a same story, different day. And so for example, I was at work. My coworker is a perp. Like I say, your whole ecosystem, right? Because you're just a test subject for the government, and so your whole environment is supposed to be filled with people who are supposed to get you to accept these manipulations. It's obvious that it's a manipulation. You know that you will not experience that unless my brain is manipulated. But they have these ways of wanting you to rationalize this thing in different fashion. You've been validated that there's tactics that other target individuals who are test subjects, who are experiencing manipulation and altering of their mind, that are very pedophilia centric. It doesn't take a genius to put these things together. Now, their part, the people involved in this program, contracted to be involved in this program, is to gaslight you to ignore the obvious manipulations that you've been validated that this is a common tactic that test subjects within this program are forced to experience. There's a whole podcast about how the future cognitive warfare, and this man is Robert Duncan, talk about what is going on in this country and the other country where people have lost their minds. Some of them ended up killing. Matter of fact, in October of the last year, a man killed 18 people, which inclusive of one child, and kids, babies, 10-year-old were wounded. And so that's because he was put in this program where he was manipulated, not even manipulated, but was hearing these V2K voices that was calling him a pedophile. There is a lot of pedophilia type of tormenting within this program because they try to break you down. Apparently breaking you down is needed to break your ego down, and they break you down using these cognitive tactics. Not only physically break you down because they can do so much to you, remotely to your body, but psychologically break you down. It's something about breaking your ego down so they can control you better. It's part of this ability to mind control you. There's a whole system, a process of doing things in order to disturb you. This disturbing has a purpose. The reason why they disturb you is apparently that they want you to not see yourself as yourself anymore. They want to start perceiving yourself in different fashion. How they do that is they make you experience disgusting reactions, one way or another. The most common one is the pedophilia type of torture, which has been called that, right? Now, with the level of validation that you get, these, I mean, these people are gonna act in ways that they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, you just saw what just happened to you. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of gimmicky acting to get you to accept this. It's really takes some shamelessness, but they have to do that. They have to act accordingly. They have to act shamefulness, like shamelessness. They have to have no shame, because these people obviously are not they're not all idiots. There is of course idiots. There's like childlike minded, but there's also a lot of smart people who can put two and two together and see, okay, well, everybody else is saying that they do this particular type of torture. You hear that there's actually a process of mind controlling somebody is to go make them go through a process of degrading their mind, right? And even the way they just the interactions, you see that they try to deflect and try to say things to agitate you, to confuse you while you put things in perspective. So I'm at work. This is really another nothing new really. I'm at work, and this woman who's a co-worker, quote unquote, tries to show me. Well, at one point, I was saying things that weren't there, and I asked her, "Oh, I liked your background." And I look at the background. The background of her thing was completely different from what I was perceiving things to be. They can completely create perceptions. It was scary. Actually, that was the most. That was a little bit different in the sense that that was an extreme perception manipulation. That was perhaps more different than what I'm going to experience after, because it was so super extreme. That kind of scared me. It was like, wow, I did not perceive this like that. It was almost shocking. That was one of the perception, and I never experienced this kind of perception. Well, I experienced one that was crazy, but not that much. Uh, not that many. Uh, I get perception manipulation all the time, but this was one of the most extreme one, meaning that what you see was very far from what you were actually was actually there. It was scary. It was like, oh my gosh, I'm this manipulated. It kind of gave me a an idea of how manipulated I am. It was scary. So I know it's gonna be way worse, because this level of perceptions, it was almost hallucinations. It was close to it. It was like a bunch of pictures together, a bunch of people together, but it formed into something else in my head that was nothing to do with what was on the picture. So I know that it's gonna be really, really, really bad. In regard of how they can make me now see things in ways that's gonna be really off. So that was the most abnormal thing, I would say. Then something else happened. That's the typical things they do to me every day, since August 19, 2019. This is the videos I've been making almost on a daily basis, about what they do to me. It went back to the normal, typical manipulations they make me experience. This woman tries to show me multiple pictures of her child. One thing they try to make me believe is like, oh no, this little girl is real. The little boys is fake little girls, and she tried to show me her little girl multiple times. I look away. I pretend like I'm looking, but I'm looking away, right? And I don't want to look at this baby, because initially she tried to show her little girl, and I think because in that picture this little girl looked a little, I don't want to, a little different. I don't think they were able to create that manipulation they can make me have. She had like a very, not to try to insult this little baby, but she had like a different way, a different look. I would say she's a tiny little girl, but she had like a interesting features, face features that So I think that kind of they did not want to do too much to it, and I know they could have make me experience any reaction toward this little girl. I know that they have full control of my brain. If I don't react this way, it's because they didn't make me react this way, right? And sometimes what they like to do is like, no, it's because this kid is look like that. It's like, it's because you didn't make me do that. You didn't make me experience that perception of this child in these disgusting ways they make me have that. So I'm like, okay, whatever, thank God. But this woman kept trying to show her child, like looking for pictures. I'm like, oh my gosh. I was like, I know this. It's like she's trying to get this reaction in my mind that they can manipulate me to have, right? And who's they is obviously this program that is cognitively manipulating your brain. Then again, we have another interaction, and now she shows me a different picture, and you don't see the face of this baby. It's so sad. You just see the baby, this little girl, from the back of her head. So now they can create like it's a very wholesome picture, very wholesome, and it's just so sad that I'm forced to have this disgusting, and it's her with like some kind of pet. And it's a really wholesome picture, beautiful picture. That's the kind of picture that you frame and you put. But the baby is like, the picture is taken from her back of the head, and you can see she has her little dress or whatever from. It's just laying somewhere, and you can see the angle from like behind her head, right? And I guess that's when they start doing the nasty manipulation. I don't know. That's when they start getting these stimulations, and it was so nasty. They start making me imagine some disturbing things. I don't even want to describe how disgusting it was. Like, it's so disgusting. It's just disturbing. And they create this disturbing perception, and then give me some sensation, stimulation. That, no, what we're doing here is when you're a kid. That's how you perceive. I was like, no, this is the nasty things you manipulate me to experience. It's disgusting. It's the it's the disturbing manipulations that they make you have, and then all the acting started. Oh, everybody started walking, looking at me, shaking their head, walking. It's like this whole gimmickiness and all acting. That's what they want me to perceive. This is like what we did there, right? We mapped it. We matched this way of perceiving this child, because when you're a kid, this is how you perceive this. Now, at this point, you've been validated that they have this pedophilia type of tormenting. The pedophilia type of tormenting is a way they make you have experiences that are pedophilia centric. You see a child, they can make you have sexual stimulation, they can have you have sensation, can have you have stimulation, they can have you have imaginations of some nature. And this is now unique to me. Other target individuals have experienced the same thing. It's disgusting. And it's foul, but that's what they do. And then they act accordingly. Oh, our little girls, our little girls. Story. Okay, yeah, yeah. These people are definitely not protecting little girls by no means. Matter of fact, they're creating, perhaps they're a threat to little girls. They're a threat to little boys. They're a threat to kids. The entities running this program have a huge big issues that's ongoing in their entities with pedophilia. There's a lot of pedophiles working in these DoD entities, and it's been ranked this high in regard trafficking child porn using DoD network, DoD devices by Child Protective Services. So you understand that there's a lot of employees there that have, well, they are pedophiles. There's a lot of pedophiles working in these DoD entities. That's the best. It's a lot of pedophiles and a lot of pedophilia ongoing there. And I'm not saying that out of like conspiracy theory. There's literally a bill that was passed in 2019 in order to limit the amount of child porn that is being trafficked using DoD network, DoD computers, and this Child Protective Services was ranking all the network in regard based on the amount of child porn trafficked within a network. The DoD network was ranked 19 out of 2900 out of 2,891 specifically. 19 meaning that they are the 19th ranked. The DoD network was ranked 19th out of 2,900 for the amount of child porn being trafficked by DoD employees with using DoD network. Out of all the United States network, DoD network was 19th out of 2,900. Now, that is just a sign that there's a lot of issue with pedophilia within those entities, because this high ranking, this top tier ranking, is just ridiculous. It just shows like the level. Now, I'm bringing that up as a reality because those are the entities that are obviously running this program, and what they're doing to us target individuals, we are just test subjects, because this technology is adding precision to the ability to manipulate the brain and control human beings, mind control. And that's the reality of things. They've been working on this technology that can alter the mind since the 60s. DARPA has had projects called Project Pandora, where they're using electromagnetic radiation and see how they can alter the mind of a man using that, and that's in the 60s. So you can only imagine, and obviously they didn't stop in the 60s. So you can only imagine the level of manipulation they are right now. So these entities with this consistent issues with pedophilia have been working on this technology to manipulate the mind, and been utilizing human subjects to continuously improve on this technology. And what a lot of the target individuals have said consistently when they are testifying and providing what they're going through, they've been saying that they have been manipulating the brain in these pedophilia ways. Matter of fact, like I said, one of the first petition I've ever seen regarding target individual, one of the symptoms was remote pedophilia. Now, it's clear to see a pattern that they use this pedophilia type of torture. And then, because you are forced to experience that, it helps when the people contracted to be involved in this act accordingly. So then this is what you call these gaslighting methods, that these perps around you start acting when they observe this manipulation, which they know is very well in a manipulation. So they start acting accordingly. Oh my gosh, they look at you, there's this woman. And I think with time things have been looking bad in the other side, because I'm being more and more validated that this is manipulated. The logic they have to create, the rationality they have to create is just truly minimizing their own sense of logicalness. I don't know if it's a word, but basically they have to like minimize the way of thinking to play accordingly, to push me to accept this gaslighting. So today, with all this obvious manipulations, today with the obvious validations in regard of, there is testimonies of that of other target individuals say that there is people speaking about this process of using these disturbing cognitive manipulations to break down the target individual. Other target individual talking about what's happening to them. These mass shootings that is happening, where this last mass shooter killed 18 people, and before doing that he was complaining of people talking to him, calling him a pedophile. And so it's continuously bringing up of pedophilia type of tormenting over and over. There's a survey talking to multiple target individuals, about 1,000. Almost all of them are saying that they're planting child porn in their mind. So it's coming up consistently, right? And so, and on top of that, this ranking and showing that these entities running this program, which these people that my coworkers are at this point contracted to work with, are those entities have had issue with pedophilia. So in every way, by every means, you see like, okay, well, obviously they're doing this. There's no way to escape the reality. Now with me, what's happening is, for example, with this little girl, that there was a picture of her with her pet, and there's a picture of, you can see her like the back of her head and a little bit of the front, but just mostly the head, and you see her in the little dress like from the back, right? Forcing me to get the stimulation. The way they try to make me experience this is like what I've said before multiple times. They try to make me think that what we're doing to your brain, the reason why you're seeing this kid this way, you're perceiving this kid in this way, is because when you were a child, around 13, 14 years old, this is how you will perceive these kids, these babies. We just made you perceive a child the way you used to perceive children when you were a child. We are bringing your brain back to that. And they will say some nastiness. And they say these things over and over. And give me a second, because my gastro organs are being destroyed. And so what they're saying is, we mapped it to you when you were a kid. You were like this, and they try to bring up, I remember what you did in middle school. And they will say some, to see coworkers being so compromised, because this woman, she has a child that's about the same age. And they say that they mapped me toward when they, in 8th grade or so. And so I'm like, gee, so you look at me and imagine your son. Do we look like we're the same? So imagine you and your son, and they say, we're making your brain be the brain of your son's age in 8th grade. You look at you. Imagine that's what we're doing. So it's delusional. It's stupidity, and then they act accordingly, and they will say things like, "Jack off now." Oh my gosh, I'm like, you're so trash. And they will give me stimulation sensations like, "No, that's you. That's like you, trash ass bunch of low life." And I made sure to look at the woman when I saw the picture of her and the pet and the child. I was like, "Oh, this is you and your child. This picture is a very wholesome picture," and I said on purpose that word because I was like, I know I'm gonna be manipulated to get this disgusting reaction, but it's being manipulations. It's not natural. It's never gonna be organic. This is something that my brain has to be manipulated to experience, and you know that very well, very very well. So regardless of whatever is gonna happen to me, you know that this is what they do to break you down as a target individual. It's like a cognitive warfare that we're dealing with, and we just test subject to this cognitive technology warfare. We're just these test subjects. And I'm not going to let you stay within your character. You know that your brain is, you know that my brain is no longer mine. And for me to experience that, this cognitive technology, this neurotechnology, I have to do things to my brain to experience that. You know very well. These people who's going to act accordingly are supposed to get you to identify with this. And they'll come like, pay now, pay now. Shut up. You actually torture children. And that's not my brain. This is you manipulating my brain. Right? And they act accordingly. They have no shame. You see grown woman who really comes and try to make you like, can you imagine how stupid you have to make yourself low, how low you have to make yourself be? These tactics of forcing men and women to look at kids and gain reaction toward children is the routine, and it's the nasty things that they've been doing to so many others. And I know why you're doing that, because you want me to break down and start seeing myself in different fashion. I love myself more than I ever loved myself before, because I could have been doing the same things that you guys do, force somebody to react to a children in a certain way, and then just look at them like, you pay now. And what they say you pay now, what they try to bring up is when I was in 13, 14 years old, I did some dumb, stupid thing to myself. I'm not trying to minimize what I did as a child, but you got to look at what a child is capable of doing. And this impulsive moment of a kid in 8th grade is what a child is capable of doing. So what they're trying to do today is like, this sensation stimulation that you're experiencing when you see little girls like that is you when you were a little kid, when you were like an 8th grader. Because remember what you did as a kid that time. That's that. That's why. It's like, no, I was a dumb kid who did something stupid to myself. I'm not a child. I know that you do the pedophilia type of torture, and then you guys know who's harming children. Because these people saying, pay now. Actually, as I said, this is a program that is continuously increasing precisionness on technology that can alter the mind. And so, like every program that is consistent of machine learning, you need human subjects. You need samples of all sorts. My point is, these people also do that to children, as young as this little girl that they're forcing me to get this nasty stimulation. They've tortured children as young as 3 years old, sexually tortured them. Sexually tortured 4 years old, sexually tortured 5-year old, 7-year old sexually tortured and suffocated. And so when they say pay now, I'm like, I know that you torture babies that age, actually infants. And I know that you're forcing me to have this experience. And I know that this man who killed 18 people lost his mind because trash like you are forcing people to lose their mind. This is why this 10-year-old got shot in the leg. And you guys are here calling it's war. They have no fucking they have no fucking respect for themselves. And to see this grown woman try to act this way, like, now pay now, it's like, trash, you a bunch of pedophiles. You think that these entities ranked 19th out of 2,900 out here protecting children? You delusional shit. You are not protecting children. You are forcing men and women to lose their mind by doing this pedophilia type of tormenting. So tonight, what they were doing, they were making me think of women having sex with women, and then make me think of this little girl to condition my brain this sexual way toward children. They are nasty, because not only they force you to experience nasty reaction at the moment, but then later on they train your brain to think about children in sexual ways by making you think about sexual moments with a woman, then change and bring up this baby, this little girl, this wholesome picture with this little girl and this, her dog, and whatever pet that was next to her, to create this conditioning of sexual nature toward these kids, literally training the brain to think about kids in sexual ways. That is the world that they're in. This is what they're involved in. You understand who's the pedos? They are low-life pedophiles. And of course, they know that this is the manipulation they force people to have. Now, I've been validated in ways that's just surreal. I mean, it's surreal. It's crazy to even, but once you understand why they do that, it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. And so, via voice to skull, for me, you hear people interacting with me. It's like, oh, kill yourself, stop it. It's real. It's you pay. You're gonna pay now. They can say all kind of weird things to deflect. Because a lot of my video lately have been extremely validating to me in a sense of listening to the obviousness. Cognitive warfare is going to be consisting of, in the future, you won't need, like, these wars that we're going to go through in the future will not be consisting of people killing each other. What you do is you alter the mind of a person. Alter their mind, try to create this false personality, and it's going to slowly kill that individual. This is things that I myself did not say. But people who are obviously analyzing what's happening and who have interviewed multiple thousands of target individuals start putting things together. It's like, okay, this is a tactic where they are altering the mind of the target individual. They are creating this false personality. A lot of it is pedophilia-centric. There's a lot of pedophilia-centric tactics of tormenting them that is being mentioned over and over and over, showing a clear pattern that they do the pedophilia type of torture. It's obvious this is the norm. This is the common way of breaking people down. With me, when they make me have this experience, they know what we're doing is there are experiences, like you experienced that when you were a kid. So what we're doing is just making you think the way you thought when you were a kid, right? Which on its own shows how illogical they have to make themselves be. And this is why via V2K, there's a lot of interaction with people who sound like children, who just repeat, no, they are. It's like, yes, you're right, they are a lot. They are 19 out of 2,900. They are almost all target individuals saying the same thing. And they are this pattern that is pedophilia-centric, that is forcing you to experience this nasty thing. So with me, they've been trying to, okay, with little girls, it's real. But I remember, so every time this little girls, now with little girls, they give you this stimulation sensation. It's like, no, you felt like that when you were a kid. You see that? I mean, the thought, the imagination they made me experience with this little girl. She had this little dress from the back, right? And they'll make me imagine something disturbingly sexual. It's so disgusting. So disgusting. And then to build onto this, make me have thoughts of women, this morning or last night, where they make me have sexual more thoughts of me being with women, and then transition that to that little girl, training my brain to connect these things together. Right? Very disgusting brainwashing tactics to force a man to think about children in sexual ways. But the things I'm supposed to feel extra guilty or something like that, because I'm supposed to be like, oh my gosh, the coworker, I know the coworker knows. She wanted me to look at her child so they can do these nasty manipulations, right? And they'd be like, you pay now. After they make me experience this manipulation, because these people enjoy what they're involved in. They want to participate in this, but make themselves believe that somehow they're doing this because they're going to make me pay for what I did when I was a kid. Because the reality is, they know that these people torture children. They know that this pedophilia type of torture is obviously something they do commonly. They are as smart as I am, if not smarter than me. They can see a pattern for real. They're not going, no, we mapped it to him when he was a kid. At one point it was so sad, so pathetic. I remember before I found out that there's so much pedophilia issues in these governmental entities. They're like, now what we're doing is we're protecting the children. We're going through people's brain and figure out who's the pedophiles, and finding out that actually these governmental entities doing these things to us are so pedophilia centric that Child Protective Services have ranked those entities for having some of the most trafficked child pornography within their network, ranking them 19th out of 2,900. 2,900 being all the networks in the United States, then being ranked 19 out of all of those. Basically saying that they are very top tier in regard of child pornography trafficking in the United States. And it's funny, they say this, they have been consistently ranked top tier. Right? So these bottom feeders out here, nah, they are, it's you when you were a kid, we mapped it, and they're working for these governmental entities, right? And this is just like at the high level. On the program level, targeted individuals have all said the same thing, that they create this nasty reaction towards children. And it's consistently brought up over and over and over, showing a clear pattern. And these people are trying to gaslight you into accepting these manipulations, where it's obvious manipulations, that even to the point where they make you think of a child, make you think of a woman, you being with a woman sexually, then bring a child in, and then start connecting things together. After the initial manipulation you experience at the time, or maybe shortly after. But to continuously train the brain in these disgusting pedophilia ways. This is how they do this thing. This is how they disturb you. But with me, they were supposed to then make me feel guilty because it's my coworker. They want you to look at your coworkers in incredible ways. Listen, my coworkers are great at what they do in regard of work, but they also involved in a program where they're supposed to gaslight you into accepting these manipulations. That's why target individual, they want you to see them in a credible way toward them. Like you should think that, oh, they won't be involved in this. But at this point, it's just too much. Because I know that they are smart enough, if not smarter than me, to see the clear pattern. So if you can see that, can you imagine what they see? And how dumb they have to be? Some of them, like I said, have children who's in 8th grade. So they know that children are children. So not only they know that this makes no sense, they understand the perception of a child being a kid. And imagine imagine they start saying, no, we're mapping to you. They're mapping you to when you're a kid. And look who's saying that. So they're going to have to act accordingly. And so with me, they do these things, and then you see them acting in different ways and looking at me and going back and saying, not pay. It's like, I know, first of all, that you torture children. This program is running a program where they are continuously improving in technology. So they do horrible things to children to see how their brain reacts, and not even to see the brains of the children, but the brain of the target individual. And because I said this, they have this tactic of breaking down the ego. They want to break you down. And so if you're a parent and you're a target individual, the pedophilia type of torture is disturbing, yes. But there is nothing more disturbing to witness your child being tortured and you can do nothing about that. Can you imagine this kind of psychological breakdown that would do to you? So what it means is when they are targeting a target individual with children, sometimes, and in a lot of cases, they also target those close members of your family because they want to see you stress. They want to see the psychological stress. And so the psychological stress that they bring onto you is based on how they torture your child, to see the reaction of your cognitive, of your brain, because this is how they're going to break you down. So that means that they've been torturing children of all ages, inclusive of infants. And some of the torture have been sexual torture. And imagine your parents, and you can do nothing about what's happening to your child because you are a target individual, a test subject where these governmental entities are using this technology onto a child. So they have done this pedophilia type of torture toward parents, which is why I'm so validated. There's a woman with twins and kids. She said they start doing this program perversion and start aiming it toward children. Yes, but they also have tortured the children themselves directly. So in every ways, you've been validated. And these people come in like, they're paying now. It's like, yeah, okay. You're involved in this nastiness that does these horrible things. The men just killed 18 people, inclusive of children. You are forcing people to think in this pedophilia way consistently, and you think I'm gonna be like, no, it's me when I was a kid. Look at you, you're a grown-ass woman. Imagine if I say they're making your brain being a brain of the child in 8th grade that you have. You start laughing at me. And then when you start to say, oh, no, but you pay what you did as a kid. Imagine your kid in 8th grade doing some dumb thing like that, an impulsive stupidity of a child. And it's like, you pay now while you are working. The person who say you pay now is involved in a program that's literally causing kids to die, to be harmed, like abused in ways that you can't even comprehend, from sexual to non-sexual. Of course, it's all acting, because they have this perception too, but they want to enjoy what's happening because it gives them this. This is also, you gotta understand, the ability to manipulate somebody like that. They on the computer, they're watching my body break down. I mean, they also are curious of what they can do to the human body. I mean, there's a lot of incentives that just not only financial. Some people are smart. Some of them are very smart individuals that just are curious individuals to see the effect of what they do to you, to your body. But they have to find ways to cope with that. So they come up with this retardation to the point where they create these reactions, and they're like, oh my gosh, kill him. And then like, they make themselves, they hype themselves up by creating reactions. They make me experience that and feed off the experiences they make me experience. And like, no, not pay. After making me have this reaction toward a child that they forced me to have. And experience toward, and like, now what would they not pay for what you did in middle school? Like, what the hell? Well, involved in a program where they know that what they're doing to me is done to children. And these manipulations and the way they force people to think is a manipulation of the cognitive, the way they can manipulate the brain, because this is what it's really about. And this is part of this cognitive warfare where they alter the mind and create this false personality to make the target individual break down and lose notion of who they are. And think that because it's a coworker, I should feel more stressed. Like, no, this coworker tried multiple ways to make me look at her child. Multiple ways to get this reaction. Multiple. She literally went on her phone, look at pictures. She probably look at a picture. Okay, in this picture they can do this. Like in this picture, no. And you know, she has beautiful children. But I think the initially her child looked, you know, kind of, she has a very interesting, different look. I don't know how to describe it, and I don't want to insult her child because she has beautiful kids. But what messed with me is when how they mess with me is when the picture they took is from, it's a very wholesome, beautiful picture, a wholesome picture. I gotta say that. But the way they can create this thing is just nasty. It's a little kid with her pets, and you can see the back of the head, and just like you don't see her face. And so it's just the little baby and that's the picture they start creating, this disgusting stimulation. It's so nasty. And I'm saying that they try to make me do something as I'm putting my hand under my cover. It's so disturbing. And they'll be, no, not pay because this is you when you're a kid. Remember? It's like, no, this is what you're making me experience today. And somebody will say, jack off. I was like, what? You trash ass bunch of low life. Because the way she's trying to talk about is what I did when I was a kid in middle school. Can you imagine? Grown ass woman. They trash low life bottom feeders who force people to have these reactions while working for entities where Child Protective Services literally ranks those entities as 19th out of 2,900. And they'll be like, not fair. It's like very fair. Because now on top of that, I know I'm being manipulated this way. On top of knowing that I'm being validated, that this is something you do to others. But the entities running this program, the reason why you're doing this thing to me, who's running this program, the mappers are actually 19th out of 2,900 in regard to child pornography trafficking in the United States. So for me, target individual, the reason why I make videos is because I wanted to show consistency. Because apparently now they see that's even more proof. It's like, this proof every day of you guys manipulating me. I made thousands of videos just based on that. This picture of that, this picture, this is another one that they do all the time. Nothing new. dozens of the same things over and over. And then tomorrow, tonight, today, like there'll be always something. But but at least in the others, I take a screenshot of whatever they do to me and then make a video about it. Say this is what they did to me. This is what they do to me. This is the same thing. And via voice to call, which is the interaction they can have to me with me remotely. You have people try to counter. So they repetitively try to stop what I'm saying, to keep me in this synthetic reality that this program can put you in. But validation is validation. There's too much validation. There's a whole fucking ranking. There's a whole no touch torture list of things they do, which include child pornography implanted in their mind. There's testimonials of people all around the world, and there's just somebody who just killed 18 people because via this voice to skull, which is how they interact with me, killed 18 people because he was being called a pedophile. Adding to so much more to what they do, and on top of that, these pedophilia issues is not specific to DoD, but also CIA agencies having issues with pedophilia in regard of downloading so much child porn. So yes, there's so much validation, and they have to dumb themselves down, and they're gonna have to act accordingly to get me to subscribe and identify with these pedophilia things they do to people.